Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and God, I can't believe you said that. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, you are tuning in to the heavy hitters right now. And as your screen is seeing, we have a quite full, not a full house, but it's enough to where you ain't got no food in your fridge. I'm your host, Six Man K Styles, as usual. Well, since I'm in a different position, I gotta say to my stage right today.
Stage right, yeah.
We got Senator Palpatine, aka Mad Mike Sports.
Oh yeah.
To my stage left, we have the therapist, ATL, the super villain.
What's good, people? Tonight I am Representative Napier from one half 411 Pain. Thank you.
411. And at the bottom, as y'all already know, we got one of the OGs of the show. We got the Summer Hill Nightmare, the Don in the building.
It's showtime, folks.
And the starting point guard for the heavy hitters team. Y'all know him as the minister, but we call him Utah Sports.
Yes, sir. What's going on, y'all?
And we have a special guest tonight. As y'all already know him on Twitter, Atlanta Falcons fan.
This man has quite a he look. I think his reputation is a little bit just as crazy as my reputation is. So I'm loving this.
Maybe I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't think anybody got the reputation we got around here.
Hey man, it's good old fashioned football talk. That's all.
What's going on, Scott? How you doing, man?
I'm doing all right. How y'all?
Hold on. So I told you gotta start with I want to start with a hard hit right quick. So, question for you. So, I know one is probably not gonna like when I say this, but do you still think one is a how should I say it?
All I'm gonna say here is he mentioned anything about my wife. You say anything about my wife, you're instant blocked. You say anything negative about my wife, I'm instantly blocking you.
Okay, we got that. We got that. So
that's the only reason why I blocked him. I would have left him alone had he not said a damn word about my wife.
Oh boy,
we got it. We got that.
I'm just being upfront with you about that. You don't know her.
That's interesting.
She's not on Twitter. That's
interesting.
That's my heart right there. You don't fuck with her.
Well, you know what? I can agree with that, but I got to ask you a question, and if you would do me the honors and answer it honestly, what was said that was derogatory towards your wife?
Anything that's about my wife, mine and my wife's relationship, anything like that, just do not bring her up in conversation, period. If we're talking football, we're talking football. I'm okay with talking football. Don't make it personal. Don't make it about my wife. Don't make it about me. Make it about the take. Make it about football. I will talk to you all day. The minute you make it personal, I have no business associating with you. It's that simple. That's how I look at it. If you want to keep it about football, I'm here. I'm not going to attack you. I'm not going to attack you personally because I don't know you. But the minute you make it about anything but football, I'm not going to associate. It is that simple.
Okay. Well, you know what?
And I feel like that's fair.
You know what? You're right. You know what? That is fair. I would just appreciate, going forward, when you're asked the question, just answer the question. No need for the digs. That's it.
When you guys been trolling me for months about this, it feels personal.
Come on,
when you start asking those questions.
Come on, Sky. We let's be real.
Let's get the football, okay? Let's get
to round 2 in the intermission.
Yeah. Round two. Ding, 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 ding. We established that. We established the ground rules at this point. We established the ground rules. This is what this show is about. Establishing ground rules and respecting everyone's point of view and respecting where some may have been misconstrued, misguided, or whatever the case may be. Now one knows exactly where you stand, and you understand where at that point in time what one was coming from. It was a question, and it's something, like I said, it's something that we like to do. We just like to ask the tough questions. So I'm positive that one, and I know K Styles for years. It's like my brother. It wasn't a way. It wasn't where he felt like he was trying to troll you. All right, that's not what we do. All right, we just ask the tough questions, and man, yeah, this show's already getting off the top. You know, Scott, hold on. Scott done came out. He done blew the air in like Triple H and everything. Like he's like, damn. All right.
Did I miss anything? Did I miss anything? I had to go get me a piece of a slice.
Yeah, like Scott and Juan came out with the blows. Scott he threw a round two, a haymaker, a Mike Tyson uppercut, and then Juan came with a damn Muhammad Ali 2-piece. Like, look, we got it. We got it. Round one, draw. Okay, ding, ding, ding. Round one, draw.
I just want to go get a piece of chocolate cake from my mama's refrigerator.
He just went and got a piece of chocolate cake. But look, let me say this, man. We're gonna get to some ball, but this is why we want to have these types of shows, because in football, man, everybody really believes in what they say. Scott is a guy I've known for quite some time. When he was in 24/7 wrestling group, where we were, talking wrestling. He's a huge wrestling fan himself. And like I said, he actually started this long before I did. I think he started about a year or so, probably a little less than that, but he started a few years, and that's one of the reasons why I got into it. Aaron Freeman, all these guys done. I met all those guys around the same time. So, like I said, everybody passionate, man. Everybody's passionate, and everybody really, they really believe in what they're saying. So. Let's look. I like this, man. It's like we just want to have the conversation. We get everybody exactly what they want. They want Falcons content creator to sit around and really talk ball. And like, look, we can have conversation. And I appreciate you, Scott, for even coming on, because we got quite a few of them that won't even come on and speak to us. So we truly appreciate that. All right. So Juan,
I asked to come on.
Yeah, you asked to come on.
It was my idea.
He asked to come on. He hit me up and said, yes, let's go on. So I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. So, K Styles, it look like I gotta be the ringleader today. I guess I gotta be Don King today. I'm like, he's normally the host of the show. Six man K Styles, but
I'm just listening. I'm the today.
All right, so let's get to the first topic. I think this is the first topic. I think this is let's get, like I said, I want to get straight to it. All right, straight to it. Sure. So the conversation at hand was Justin Fields. Now, K Styles is let's start with K Styles first. All right, K Styles.
What's up?
So, as far as Justin Fields, what was your idea of what? Because a lot of fans think that the Falcons should not pursue Justin Fields. Now, could you give everybody your point of view of why shouldn't the Falcons go after Justin Fields? The positives and the negatives and such.
Well, I don't know necessarily about positives and negatives, but I can kind of give you why I really feel like it would be kind of a waste of time, because if you're looking at the body of work, like I said, if we're judging based on the expectation of what the player was coming into the league and all this stuff like that, bringing him to the Falcons, me personally, and this is my honest opinion, like I said, it'd just be a waste of time because if you do bring him here, you don't have that much time to make a decision if he's a long-term solution or not. You have to remember, you got the 5th-year option deadline coming up in May. Was it May 2nd? I just want to make sure I get the date right.
May 2nd. Yeah.
Yeah. So if they get him and they don't know what to expect, because the thing is, if you look at his time in Chicago, let's be honest, a lot of people throw in he doesn't have that many weapons. The coaching staff is bad and all that stuff like that. But
the coaching staff up there was atrocious. That's why they all got replaced. So I'm just gonna throw that out there. They all got fired, every last one of them.
But here's the interesting part about it. You can't say that he doesn't have an offensive line because he has the most pocket time of any quarterback in 2023. They second in the league in rushing. You have a 1,300-yard receiver and a 700-yard tight end, and you got a couple good running backs as well. So it comes down to a point where we can throw all that, but how much of this can we put? How much of the accountability are people going to be willing to put on him for not taking that next level? See, when we talk about our quarterback situation here in Atlanta, you notice how the accountability and the expectations is up here.
It's because we had 14 years of fantastic football from Matt Ryan.
But the thing is, you had 14 years. Get over it. He ain't here no more. Until it comes down to that point where if he comes back, then you can say that. But for Matt Ryan, for a portion of the fan base, it wasn't even about Matt Hill. Most of the Falcon fans thought Matt Ryan was a terrible quarterback.
Not the ones I associated with, but
yeah.
I see a whole lot of it. I hear it every day and I see it everywhere.
Not the true ball knowers. Yeah, he was a distributor, but that was his job. He was a quarterback who was designed to not create his own running, just get it to the guys. And that's what made guys like Roddy White and Julio Jones and Tony Gonzalez and Austin Hooper and Harry Douglas and Mohamed Sanu and all of them have career years under Matt Ryan. If you go look at all of his receivers, almost every one of them had their best year with him throwing them the ball because he was giving them the opportunities to catch the damn ball and make something with it. That's a good quarterback. That's all your quarterback has to do in general.
But it's ironic that their biggest gripe about Matt Ryan is that he wasn't mobile.
That wasn't his style. That's a stylistic gripe. That's not an actual play gripe.
Yeah.
That's like, oh, we want another Vic. That's cool and all, but what did Vic win us? A playoff game?
Yeah.
2 playoff games his entire time here? What did Matt Ryan do? He brought us to a Super Bowl.
Right.
And we should have won that damn thing, but that's a whole other.
That's a whole nother conversation. That's a whole nother conversation. So
that's a whole other conversation. I have us all 6 of us sounding like Bane. So
I'm glad he lost too. So one.
Yeah.
So all right. So Kill kind of alluded to the fact that a number of reasons why Justin Fields may or may not. So what is your take as far as Fields is concerned? And then we'll go with you after you.
Okay, well, first, like I said before, I don't take any athleticism away from Fields because that would be just bad. But upstairs, he in my opinion, he doesn't have the mental wherewithal. He doesn't have a mental awareness. Because I have an issue, and I'm gonna say it again, and I know Jew can back me up on this because we all saw this. When you, number one, are not good at reading defenses. Number two, when you are doing things like hitting your lineman in the back of the head with a football? How do you hit your old lineman in the back of the head with the football? He's less than 10 feet from you. But the most egregious thing that I saw was in that Tampa game. How do you miss 3 of your receivers having a tea party in the end zone, mind you? And to your left, you decide you want to go bear hug a sack. I'm like, I can't. Like, I grew up on football where quarterbacks, most of the teams, they hand the ball off, they do what they got to do. They weren't throwing it at their own men. They weren't making. Now, don't get me wrong. Every quarterback makes boneheaded mistakes. That's just part of.
Absolutely.
That's just part of the game. But when you do stuff like that to where you have even the boneheaded mistake type things, like, okay, what are you doing? And my question is, and I've asked everybody this. A lot of people say, well, Fields is that guy. Fields is that guy. And I asked them, well, what has he done to elevate Chicago? Mind you now, they've had a quarterback that got them to the playoffs. And everybody says, oh, well, yeah. Oh, we need to give Fields more time to develop. You know, he's got to come into his own. How much time? Because, correct me if I'm wrong, 3 to 5 years.
Trubisky made the playoffs his sophomore season.
That's what I'm saying. How much more time do you need?
Trubisky wasn't why they were in the playoffs that year. Trubisky was basically like a Trent Dilfrey type. Like,
but he got the job done, though.
He put just enough yards up, just enough touchdowns up. He was winning games, but that defense was all-time good. Like, it was putting up 23 points a game on the defense max.
And Scott, I'm glad you said that.
That run game was fantastic. Like, it was basically what we were trying to build here with Arthur Smith, where the entire roster was good, but Trubisky. Mm-hmm. There's a reason why the very next year they drafted a quarterback.
Now, what you saying that goes right in the hand to my next point. We all know the Chicago Bears DNA was defense and running the ball. Yep. That's what they were known for. That's what the 85 Bears were notorious for.
Yeah, Jimmy.
In my opinion, Trubisky basically took advantage of that DNA. Yep. Fields, on the other hand, to include not wanting to take direction from the coaching staff as, hey, man, learn the playbook. Hey, man, do this. He's not taking on the DNA of the team. He's not embracing what they're about. He's trying to do his own thing in an organization that does this and has done this for so many years. So now he's looking incompetent. Hence why now, you know, people that know football have a problem with it, but other people are like, oh, well, he can run. That's fine and dandy. But guess what? One bad hit, career over.
See,
now we're in Chicago.
So I get where you're coming from. Trust me, I do. And I'm looking at Fields, and I see the negatives on tape. Don't get me wrong. He's got to get the ball out quicker. He's got to learn when to not take off for the run, but use his legs to find an open lane.
Extend the play.
And he'd be better off extending the play. I'm with you. Those were things that I was honestly worried about when he was coming out of college. He's got to get a much better feel for pressure. He has no feel for pressure.
Right.
So these are all things. The thing is, those are coachable things.
True.
If you have coaches that know what the hell they're doing. Luke Getsy is basically like if Arthur Smith was 31st in designing passing concepts, because it was Matt Canada here, Arthur Smith here, Luke Getsy's right there at 30. Like, you're not really getting that much of an upgrade over Arthur Smith with Luke Getsy.
Right.
There's a reason why he got fired, why that whole staff got fired. On the flip side, Zach Robinson, he's actually good at picking out a quarterback. The nuance to this discussion that I'm going to throw in is I'm open to Justin Fields. I don't have a preference for which quarterback I want in this class outside of if it was up to me, I'd have already traded up to 3 so I could get whoever fell between Drake May, Caleb Williams, even though Williams is going 1, so really Drake May and Jaden Daniels. Give me one of those 2 guys. Those are my preference. But assuming that those top 3 guys go 1, 2, and 3, and the Falcons can't trade up, the next best option in my opinion, because I'm factoring cost, both pick and money, the next best option to me is Justin Fields because he still has that super high ceiling because he hasn't been developed in 3 years. Because he hasn't had the right guys to develop him.
Hey, Scott, can I ask you a question? Now, I know you said about the coaching, right?
Coaching,
and that plays a big part because we've seen a little bit of that in Atlanta, correct?
Oh, we've seen a lot of it in Atlanta because they should have had TJ as the quarterback coach. Okay,
all right. Well, we agree on that. But my question to you is this, and this is not at you. This is about Field. How do you coach a player that's not coachable about learning the game? Because my question is, you're right. If a coach does not do his job at trying to coach the players the way they're supposed to be coached, then that's on them. But how do you coach a player that basically is like, nah, I don't want to do that?
So the coachability question only came up in Chicago, and even his coaches love him.
I don't know about that. He was at the University of Georgia, and he didn't want to stay at Georgia because
he didn't want to stay at Georgia because they wanted to play Fromm ahead of him a second season.
I got a question.
And Fromm just was terrible, and he was right there because Fromm had no business being ahead of him. Fromm was a garbage quarterback, but Kirby Smart doesn't like.
Kirby Smart's a fucking idiot when it comes down to quarterbacks. Just keep that right.
Outside of Carson Beck, Kirby Smart hasn't had a good quarterback his entire time at Georgia that he started.
I got a question because you brought up Luke Getsy. All right, and I'm glad you brought him up.
And Getsy wants to bring Fields to the Raiders. So if Fields wasn't coachable, Getsy wouldn't want to bring him along.
Hold on. Here's the thing though. So if Getsy was not good. And I'm agreeing with you. He's really
his concepts were rough.
His concepts are. However, when we talk about quarterback, because calling plays and developing players are two different things. You cannot pair them together. No. Now, where was Getsy? My question to you, Scott. Where was Getsy at before he left before Chicago?
I'm pretty sure he was with the Packers, if I'm not mistaken.
That's correct. And who was sitting behind Aaron Rodgers before they drafted him to the Jets?
He had Jordan Love, but Jordan Love was only with Getsy for 1 year. Those other 2 years of development that Love had were with somebody completely different.
Okay. I just want to point it out because normally
I'm not giving Getsy credit for that. Like
I'm not giving him.
I'm giving Aaron Rodgers.
I'm giving him somewhat of a credit because the offensive coordinators. If you have a head coach that's the de facto play caller, then the offensive coordinator, they're normally responsible for the development of the quarterback.
Correct.
So he does have somewhat of a credit with Jordan Love because Jordan Love, this past season, Jordan Love his first year without Getsy, but why did Jordan Love play at a different level than Justin Fields?
Because Matt LaFleur is a way better play caller, play designer, player developer than Matt Eberflus and Luke Getsy are. Mm-hmm. He had 3 years sitting. He got to sit behind one of the greatest of all time quarterbacks. Really got to learn. Tom Clements came in. That's the guy who's actually known for developing Aaron Rodgers. Came in last year and developed Jordan Love behind Rodgers, went over everything he did. Adam Stenovich is a good coordinator. He was working with Love. I trust those guys a heck of a lot more than I trust Luke Getsy for quarterback development. Also, they had a couple of backup quarterback coaches there, much like what we're doing here.
Well, I want to say Eberflus is a bad player developer because remember, people forget that he developed a lot of defensive players at Mizzou, like Willie Moe and Spoon.
He never developed offensive players.
He's not.
He's a whole different beast. He's a defensive guy, exactly.
But he's developed. But you said player development, so that means any player. So you just generalize that he's not.
I'm talking about in context here. I'm talking just in context of quarterbacks. just in context of quarterbacks. I'm not talking about whether or not this guy can develop a safety. We all know Eberflus can develop a safety and a linebacker. He developed Jalen Johnson. That dude's a beast at corner. Like, I'm not worried about him as a player developer. He's going to have a really good pair of defensive tackles next year in Chicago with Pickens and Gervon Dexter. He's been developing them all year. They're going to be fun to watch. I just don't think he's a quarterback coach guy, and they need to bring in an offense. They needed to bring in an offensive coordinator who was a quarterbacks coach guy, who's going to develop a quarterback. No matter who they have at quarterback, they needed that guy. Period. So that's why they brought in Waldron, who I don't think is that great, but he made Geno Smith look good. So I trust him over. I would trust over a lot of people because Geno Smith was terrible before going to Seattle and being under Waldron.
So, do you want to add anything?
Most definitely. As you guys know, my family are all Chicago Bears fans.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You might as well call me the professional. I know when it comes to Justin Fields in the Chicago Bears franchise, and I mentioned this yesterday and when I did my What's the Word, that basically in Chicago, I don't trust them when it comes to quarterback development, period. I don't care who it is because they've never had a 4,000-yard passer. And that's the reason why I'm willing to give Justin Fields the benefit of the doubt. My biggest issue with him coming to Atlanta is it matters with the coaching. Does a first-time play caller in Zach Robinson want a Kirk Cousins, a Russell Wilson, a veteran guy that can kind of be that coach on the field? Or do you want a quarterback that's still developing? I agree with what Scott is saying as far as Justin Fields, because of his athleticism, because of his arm strength, he does have that ceiling where he has untapped potential, just like Desmond Ridder has untapped potential. We don't know what Justin Fields can turn out to be. We don't know what Desmond Ridder can turn out to be if we give it time. My biggest thing is how the Falcons are talking about winning now. Can you win now with a Justin Fields is my issue. I'm not saying that you can't. I'm not saying that you can. These are all rhetorical questions. I really feel like it all depends on the structure, the infrastructure. That's kind of what you all have been saying. We understand this. Pat Mahomes is not Pat Mahomes if he's not with Andy Reid and the Kansas City Chiefs. If he's drafted to Chicago, we're probably not calling him the next GOAT. Let's just be real. He doesn't have as many MVPs that he has right now. So all of this is the if game. You know, if was a fifth, we'll all be drunk. Like, if this the Bears. At the end of the day, Justin Fields plays for the Bears. We've seen what he's done with his body of work so far, 3-4 years in. I still think that he's a project, but I do think that he's worth it if the Falcons want to go that route. But something that Mike has been saying, and we've been saying over here for the longest time, is you have to have a plan. That's my biggest
Absolutely.
thing. Whatever the Falcons decide to do, there has to be a plan for it. I don't mind Justin Fields, but they better have a plan, because I really feel like what got Arthur Smith fired, he didn't have a plan at the quarterback position. Going with Mariota, going with Taylor Heineke, going with Desmond Ridder, that's really what got us in trouble, is he didn't have a plan, or the plan kind of got thrown out the window, because I really felt like Matt Ryan was supposed to be here a little bit longer. If Matt Ryan doesn't leave, you know, we probably have a winning season that second year if Matt Ryan is still playing in Atlanta. We be real about it, because Matt Ryan doesn't make the late game mistakes. He doesn't throw picks at the end of the game. And a lot of those games where we lost those one-score games with a veteran quarterback, and that's why I'm even open to a Kirk Cousins or even a Russell Wilson, is those guys have the experience. So in a one-possession game, most likely they're not going to make that big mistake where Desmond Ridder's throwing interceptions, he's fumbling the ball. Those are the things that with younger quarterbacks, even with a Justin Fields, those rookie mistakes of making the dumb or boneheaded mistake. So that's the value in going with a veteran guy. But Justin Fields, can he pan out to be something even in Atlanta? I think he could. But will he fit? To me personally, and I said this yesterday, if I'm looking at Matthew Stafford and I'm looking at the pool of quarterbacks that I can choose, like you mentioned, I'm taking the Jaden Daniels. I'm taking the more pocket passer, because
I love Jaden Daniels. Man.
Yeah, That's just me personally, because I feel like they would fit in this scheme like perfect. Justin Fields, to me, you're gonna have to tweak the offensive system. I don't really feel like he's gonna run this system like a Matthew Stafford runs the system, because
he wouldn't.
Right, that's not his style. Like you mentioned, it's all really about play style. What do you prefer? And that's why I say it's kind of hard. And that's the intriguing part about it, is can they tailor this offense a little bit towards a Justin Fields? Because he could add another wrinkle into that Sean McVay with a running quarterback. I don't know what that looks like, but I think that it's a bigger risk. Like if they say you can get Kirk Cousins, Russell Wilson, Jaden Daniels, I think the biggest risk is a Justin Fields, because we know that his number one thing, what makes Justin Fields great right now, is his athleticism. That's what he relies upon. When all else fails, he relies upon his athleticism. But I feel like it could go either way. That's why I say it's no right or wrong answer, to be honest, when we talk about these quarterbacks, because we don't know what it's going to look like. I don't even know what this offense is going to look like, because we know they're going to be running the Rams a similar offense, but it's not going to be the exact same, because Shanahan's offense is not the same as Kevin O'Connell and the Vikings. All of them are running a similar offense, but they have their own tweaks to it based off the quarterback, based off of the weapons. So that's what makes it really intriguing, is they all pulling from each other, but they all have their different versions of it. So I think it's an intriguing conversation, to be honest.
Yeah, it's all that same offense from that Mike Shanahan scheme, where it was the mix of the West Coast concepts created by Bill Walsh and the zone blocking scheme with the cutback blind side that you had with Alex Gibbs. So, like, I get where you're coming from with this. They all have their different flavors. It's all basically that same offense, but it's different flavors depending on personnel. What I will say is, I know we're all worried about the quarterback. That's the big thing. The Falcons have 3 guys on staff that make me not as worried, even with the first-time play caller and Zach Robinson. And Zach Robinson is one of those guys, but putting TJ Yates back in his right spot of quarterback's coach is going to help out, because he's a mechanics guy. He focuses on mechanics. And then you've got Ken Zampese, who's a senior offensive assistant.
Yeah, Don was real high on him.
If you look at all the quarterbacks that Ken Zampese,
Carson Palmer
throughout the year, Carson Palmer, Ryan Fitzpatrick, for one of those less talented guys. Like, you got to look at some of the less talented guys that he's worked with. He worked with Carson Palmer. He worked with John Kitna. He worked with Mark Bulger. He worked with Josh Johnson, AJ McCarron, made them look good. He made Carson Wentz look competent when he was in Washington, but he wasn't really calling plays there. He had Alex Smith. He had Favre back in 99. He had Matt Hasselbeck. He helped Hasselbeck kind of get into a groove. This is the kind of guy, he was the quarterback's coach of the greatest show on turf.
Mm-hmm.
He's been in all sorts of different schemes, seen all sorts of different wrinkles, and he's a senior offensive assistant, but his job is going to be helping train up that new quarterback. That is going to be Ken Zampese's job, is to be there. And then you've got other guys like KJ Black, Patrick Kramer, DJ Williams, all those guys. There's like 6 guys going to be in there coaching the quarterbacks. Basically a council of, hey, you fix this, and this is what one guy's going to be the film guy. One guy's going to be the reads guy. Like, every single piece of the quarterback play is going to be basically dissected by these 6 guys, and they're going to work on every piece of it. It's why I think even Ritter, if he has to come in and start 2-3 games, because whoever the starter is gets injured, could come in, look competent, win 2 out of 3, and then go back to the bench. I'm not saying he's going to look like a fucking Pro Bowler here. I'm just saying he's going to look competent. He's not going to lose the game.
Like a Pro Bowler? What if he does play like a Pro Bowler?
Then you keep him in. Again, win games. What are we all about here? I'm going to say this. We're all going to sound like Al Davis in 2 seconds when I say, what do we all want to see the Falcons do? Just win. Just win. That's all we want them to do. We just want them to win.
So I got a question.
All 6 of us are arguing about different ways that we can see the Falcons win. That's all we want. We're all on the same side here.
I got a question real quick. Y'all
We go to K-Style because I know K-Style's itching right now.
Like everybody in here, y'all used to watch tennis at one point. Who have watched tennis back in like the late 90s or early 2000s?
Watch what?
Tennis.
Oh yeah.
Do y'all remember?
I never watched tennis, man.
Do y'all remember the Russian tennis player called Yevgeny Kafelnikov?
Mm-hmm.
I remember him.
Yeah.
He was supposed to have been the next big thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And he never panned out. Then he didn't take his training serious. He had the talent, just didn't take it serious.
Was he in the time of Chang and Agassi?
It was like the late 90s.
Yeah, late 90s.
Yeah. So he was in the time of Chang and Agassi. Yeah.
So, and we can do wrestling. Like another big person that that's not panning out right now is, I ain't gonna say LA Knight, is what's the dude name? Austin Theory.
Oh, dude, his gimmick is awful. He needs a new scrap old gimmick. Like Austin Theory, he's got all the talent in the world, but send him back down to NXT for a year. Let him go back to his
Stop smiling too fucking much. All that damn smiling. Stop fucking smiling. You a heel. What the fuck?
Well, even as a heel, his smile looks like I just want to punch him in the face. Like I relate with Kevin Owens when I'm watching wrestling, because Kevin Owens is just like, man, I just want to fucking go out there and wrestle. I just want to punch these idiots in the face. I'm gonna punch Theory. I'm gonna punch this other fucker in the face. Waller, this Australian kid. Waller has more charisma in his left pinky than Theory has in his whole goddamn body. Grayson Waller, you just want to like punch him in the face. Like that's that kid. Like he is a great heel. Fantastic heel. You're just like, man, I hate that kid. I hate that stupid Australian schmuck. Like, let him go back to Australia. Like, fuck that guy. That's Grayson Waller, right?
Hey, A-Town down. That's what we doing.
Who the fuck says that?
Like, he's the only guy. He's the only guy that actually reps Atlanta, like officially reps Atlanta, like as his gimmick. But like all the different guys from Atlanta are like, dude, we don't associate with him. AJ Styles don't fuck with the kid.
Cody Rhodes is from Atlanta.
Cody Rhodes hates the kid. Like
we got enough problems. Look, we got enough problems with images right now. We don't need no wrestling goofball doing it.
He ain't even from Atlanta, dude from Madonna, Georgia. Like that's an hour outside the city.
But still, we got enough image problems. We don't need that.
All right.
Go ahead.
All right. So y'all almost made me throw up in my mouth with the Austin Theory.
I already did it, K-Style. Already did it.
I mean, hell, Braun Breaker is from Kennesaw, and he's at least like, I'm from Atlanta, and I'm Braun Breaker.
No,
I'm the next Steiner brother, but like I'm the Steiner child.
Right.
You're from the suburbs.
He looks like a good motherfucker.
So
Braun is sick, man.
Dude, Braun's
Braun's
fantastic.
So as we kind of talk about, Matt Eberflus and development stages, what was your thought in detail of the Arthur Smith 3 years here in Atlanta? Like get more in detail. I want to get like your whole detail on it. Where do you think he went wrong and where he could have improved that to keep his job, in your opinion?
The dumbest thing Arthur Smith did his entire time in Atlanta was let Charles London walk out that door. Instead of giving Charles London a promotion to pass game coordinator, which is what the Titans did to bring him away from us. If he gives Charles London that promotion to pass game coordinator, lets him take on more responsibility, moves TJ to quarterback coach, and hires a real wide receivers coach. Last year, he does this. He just does this last year. I bet you the Falcons win 9 instead of 7. That's a 2-game difference. By not keeping the guy who you've been around your entire career in-house, you're now losing him. And I don't know about you, but Will Levis looked a hell of a lot more prepared when he was playing for the Titans than Ritter looked when he was playing for the Falcons. And that goes straight to the quarterback's coaching. We didn't have a quarterback's coach. that explains why Ritter didn't look very prepared. Because the offense coordinator's job is to coordinate the offense, not handhold the quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
So, by you saying that, I think all of us could be in agreement where it kind of feel like that where Arthur Smith messed up was he thought he was the smartest guy in the room.
Absolutely. Arthur Smith was a little arrogant, thought he had all the answers for everything. Basically, all the pitfalls that Raheem Morris said that he had when he had his first coaching opportunity, of he thought he was the smartest guy in the room, he had all the answers, and then realizing it's more a collaborative effort. When I heard that at the press conference, I was like, oh man, Raheem's about to win us 10 games this year. Doesn't matter who the quarterback is, doesn't matter who's on defense. He's going to pick the right guys. Terry's good at getting the right guys. Terry's good at getting the right guys on the right deals too. Like money-wise, now, I don't know if you guys know this about me. I work in banking. I'm around numbers all day. The financial aspect of the league is what interests me more than anything else. If I was going to go work for any other website than what I work for now, it'd be Over the Cap. That'd be who I'd want to work for. So the money aspect of it matters so much more than people realize. And Terry is he's got the Falcons set up in their best cap situation since probably 2009.
Yeah, I was thinking the same.
Yeah. Terry's good at finessing people. I gotta tell people, Terry's good at finessing. Him and Raheem, when they get together, they're going to do a lot of finessing in this free agency. And that's what I told people on the shows. I said, if you want to see what the Falcons are going to do, pay attention to free agency. I said the draft
Pay
is just
attention to the cap. The cap space tells you everything. Before we get
money rules the world.
Before we get to the next, I want to get Jude. Jude, you have anything to add to what?
Yeah, we hit all the points. I mean, that I wanted to make. At the end of the day, like I said, I'm gonna use K Styles. We don't know. Period. We don't know when it comes to this quarterback. Like I said,
no. Let me say it for you. We don't damn know. Okay.
Hold on. I'm sitting right here. I can say it better than all y'all. We don't damn know.
We don't know.
We giving our opinions. At the end of the day, we giving our opinions. We put our best foot forward and say what we feel, but we don't know what these guys are thinking. At the end of the day, as long as they have a plan, I'm good to roll with it. Just have a plan. What got Arthur Smith fired was either he had a bad plan or he had no plan. And Scott just said it. Desmond Ritter was not prepared. How do you not have a quarterbacks coach? This is not even a veteran guy. I can understand it's Matt Ryan, and you're like, okay, we don't need a quarterbacks coach. This dude's a veteran. But you got Desmond Ritter out here, a dude that's a first-year starter with no quarterbacks coach. That sounds like a disaster. I'll leave it at that.
Right. And he didn't have nobody to learn from.
And this new staff is an overcorrection of that, which I'm okay with more quarterbacks coaches than less. You know, I'm okay with, hey, this is the plan. If Robinson gets hired away, we'll probably pop up Yates, right? And then we'll keep these other guys promoting them internally and keep hiring new offensive assistants to replace KJ Black and Patrick Kramer when they get bumped up to pass game specialist and assistant quarterbacks coach and all that. And then DJ Williams will be quarterbacks coach. Like, you see, he's already got the plan in line of let me get as many guys who work with quarterbacks as possible or who work quarterbacks, because that's who's going to end up running my offense one day.
Every quarterback coach specializes in certain things. So when you have a quarterback room full of different quarterback coaches, everybody can bring something different to the table.
Exactly.
So this is why Raheem Morris got hired to begin with, because he not only has a plan for the quarterback and how to develop one, but he also have a plan for everything else as well on a team. And hiring of Jimmy Lake, and then you keeping Jerry Gray on the staff, that alludes to us that he's just going to be focused on being a head coach instead of being a head coach and a defensive coordinator.
Well, you got an advantage in TJ Yates because, like I said before, TJ Yates sat there the whole season and watched Ritter do the wrong stuff, and he just couldn't sit him down and say, "Hey, this is what you should have done in this situation." Now with him,
he was trying to, and he would get chewed out for it.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
This coach got to work with the quarterback coach.
Right. I guarantee you he was trying to, and he got chewed out for it. And Arthur Smith probably was going to fire him after this year. Like that, like TJ. I grew up with TJ. We went to rival high schools, but I grew up with TJ. We played against each other a lot growing up. And he was not a guy who was going to not have his voice heard. I'll put it that way. He was always going to smack talk. He was always going to say, hey, this is wrong. This is right. This is wrong. This is right. Like, trust me, he was never just going to sit there and be a yes man. He was going to try and get his voice and his opinion heard. And Arthur Smith wanted yes men because that's what he sees his dad do with FedEx.
Well, can't disagree with that.
John, you have something? Oh, no.
I think it's the right time to be an asshole as a coach. It's the right time to be one. But like you said, and I think y'all said the right thing. You always got to have different ideas. They don't always got to be the same idea. And I think that's what Don was saying. But like you said, you cover all the aspects of said position with all these quarterback coaches. You're covering all different bases of it. So in actuality, what it just looks like is, like you said, like Scott said, this is a system that they're trying to build.
Yep.
Don said it. Mawan said it too. This is a system,
right?
And I think even when during the Matt Ryan years here, you had a system, you tore it down, and you never been able to recover from it. You had a glimpse of it, in which we went to the Super Bowl in 16 and went back to the playoffs 17. That was the system.
Yeah.
But then it got destroyed again.
But that's the reason why. If you go back and look at that guy, we had we had the brothers on there. We had Kyle Shanahan. We had a bunch of guys that were like they were able and they specialized in developing the quarterback and the offense the proper way. And I think if you look at Arthur, I think that's like he got way, for whatever reason, and I'm still trying to figure out why the hell that he chose Dave Ragone, because this guy's never outside of fundamentals. Like he's not qualified for a lot of things. Like talking to Terrence Matthews, talking to some other guys. It's like the passing concepts just never made sense. The spacing, I wouldn't say the passing concepts, but the spacing in the passing game just didn't make sense. Watching, guys like Kurt Warner saying the exact same thing, JT O'Sullivan, all these guys are saying the spacing.
He kept trying to run Mill. He kept trying to run Mill.
He hired a lot of people that he used to coach with. It's familiarity. Remember, Ragone was in Tennessee for a little bit before he went to Chicago.
He kept trying to run this one concept where it was Mills on one side and then it would mesh under and you had basically a streak. And the way he did it, there was no spacing between three guys.
Yeah, it wasn't
right over the middle of the damn field. They were all in this little 5-foot box, and you're like,
he was never good. He was never good with passing concepts to begin with. His run game is what was his bread and butter. And K Styles had a very important epiphany when we were talking. He said the reason why Ritter did good in his last two games when he first started is because they moved Ritter in the pocket. And if you know anything about Desmond Ritter, he does better on the move than he does stationary. Everything was already set up because everybody knew the Falcons were going to run the ball first.
Yep.
So that took pressure off the O-line, and any kind of mistakes or any kind of little hiccups they had, it kind of covered that up, and it allowed Ritter to play freely. When you decided to make this man a pocket passer, which is not something that he's strong at, all of a sudden now the whole offense is like, what are we doing? And
that's another thing that drove me insane, just to see Ritter for whatever reason. Go ahead, Kip. Go ahead.
I don't think it was necessarily he wasn't a pocket passer. I think
he was a pocket passer at Cincy.
He was a pocket. He had pocket. I think the problem was the offense didn't have a consistent identity.
Right.
Because if you go from 2020, let's do the timeline here. If you go from 2021, that was Matt Ryan
Mm-hmm.
and Kyle Pitts, and that was it.
You had CP.
Yeah, you had CP, but outside of CP and those two,
yeah, you ain't have much.
You ain't have much. So they couldn't run the ball as much as they wanted to. And you noticed in that year, CP started getting hurt at the end because he wasn't getting used to those carries. Now, going into 2022, you got Mariota, you got Ritter. They dumbed down the offense to where they literally damn near ran the same play almost 15 times a game. Yeah. But because they were dominant in the run game, it created an identity. Now, Mariota missed on some passes that could have won us a couple more games that year too. So, like I said, we're not going to solve him from that.
They should have started Ritter the Bears game that year.
Yeah, I forgot who they played before that. Cause isn't that the game? Wasn't that the?
That was the game that Pitts got hurt in.
Yeah,
no. Right before that was the Panthers Thursday night game.
Oh
yeah. Because we was at that Chicago game. He was at that game.
The minute Mariota tried throwing that pass off his ass, you should have benched him.
Please don't remind me of the cheap throw.
I know it would have only been 3 more starts for Ritter, but I think Ritter probably ends up winning against Chicago at home is a much easier game, especially when Chicago was trash last year, than going on the road to the Saints in a rivalry game. You let him warm up. Because going against Chicago and Washington and Pittsburgh, we won that Chicago game in spite of Mariota. We lost Washington and Pittsburgh because of Mariota. I guarantee you put Ritter in those games, even if you still lose them, he's much more prepared for New Orleans. He's much more prepared for Baltimore. Those were one-score games. Right. You probably end up going to the playoffs. Last 4 games win. Because it's not like New Orleans was great last year. It's not like Baltimore without Lamar Jackson was a good team last year. You would have had a much more prepared quarterback coming through the bye week, and you would have had a much better season. But that didn't happen. And then 2023 happens. He lets go of London. Again, Charles London was the key to making Ritter look decent those last 4 games of his rookie year. If you keep Charles London, Ritter probably plays a hell of a lot better than he did this year because he's in a similar thing. And London was pushing in different passing schemes than what Arthur Smith was running all year. Because this went back to like Arthur Smith's really trash 2019 offense this last year. Like when he was with when he first had Mariota, that was the kind of stuff he was running for Ritter. And we wonder why it looked terrible.
Yeah. Good God. Y'all got me really thinking about a few games. So go ahead, Gil.
So my bad, Mike. So when it comes down to it, just the ego is what killed this team.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The ego is what killed this team. And I think it didn't make it no better when you added Bijan into the mix. Not because Bijan's not a great player, because he's definitely a great player.
Oh, fantastic
but
player.
Now you got those extra eyes.
Yep.
And like you said, now it's kind of like, now you got to do it. And I think with Arthur Smith and I think with the Falcons, they knew that when they got a guy like Bijan, see now the expectation
Mm-hmm.
And the problem is, and I forgot all about the Charles London thing.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't have the right. You didn't have the right people in the situation to help alleviate that. So
He did add a lot of guys in the offseason when he lost coaches. He really didn't bring. He just elevated a few guys.
He
Like
elevated a couple guys and just failed to do what he needed to do the right way. Like Arthur Smith's biggest con, I guess you could say, was this past offseason saying, no, we can have Ragone handle the quarterback coach and the offense coordinator duties.
Yeah.
That's one guy. And then they had Patrick Kramer. There's a reason why Patrick Kramer and TJ Yates stuck around on the staff and all the other guys related to the quarterback got fired. Because those guys might actually have something worth it.
You know what showed though? And I've said it. If you watch Arthur Smith, how he played against Vrabel, that was almost like a sad pissing contest. Not to be, get off to the side. But if you look at that game right there, where they played with the old Oilers jerseys, that was all ego.
They kept trying to do the exact same things offensively. It was maddening to look at it. It was almost embarrassing because it was almost like he knew exactly what Arthur was going to do offensively. If it wasn't for the defensive side of the ball, that game could have been a lot worse than what it.
Yeah.
Honestly, take out 3 blown coverages and a terrible missed offensive pass interference. Falcons beat the Titans handle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The problem wasn't as much Arthur Smith in that game, other than him trying to get too cute too often.
Yeah, that's my point right there.
And like the stupid tight end reverse pass bullshit. That was the dumbest shit I ever saw. Like, like I'm sorry, I'm one of those guys that like even in Madden I don't run trick plays. Like I'm not gonna run a reverse. I'm not gonna run an end around. I'm gonna like the trickiest thing I'll do is basic ass play action. I'm not gonna run any of this stupid stuff that Arthur Smith tried to run, where the tight end throws to another tight end. Like, what idiot comes up with that kind of idea? Your tight end is not a passer. Your tight end plays his position for a reason. Use him like a tight end.
He still thought he had Mohamed Sanu on the team.
I didn't have a problem with the trickery. I'm just like, okay, it's tight end to tight end. It's just like tight end to tight end. Like,
it's
huh?
The who. It's the who.
That wasn't fooling anybody. It wasn't fooling nobody. That's the problem.
Please shut up.
If you have Mohamed Sanu back there and you're doing that reverse pass to Mohamed Sanu, I'm okay with that because it's Mohamed Sanu. He played quarterback at Rutgers. Like
there you go, and it worked. It absolutely worked when they did it with him.
He had Kadero Hodge. I've never seen Kadero Hodge throw a pass before.
Thank you. Mohamed Sanu was a 4-star recruit as a quarterback. Right. So he had some juice as a quarterback back there. You were like, all right, well, I can trust him to throw the ball because I know he at least has the arm and can do all that. And I mean, we all saw Sanu throw that 51-yard touchdown pass to Julio.
Yeah,
that shit was beautiful.
I know we say
he had Jonnu Smith.
Jonnu Smith.
Yeah.
And I love Jonnu Smith. I thought they should have kept him this year, worked out a renegotiated deal, but I'm okay with the fact that they let him go. Get Heineke out of here. Get Hughes out of here. Get Ogundeji out of here. Those are all just stains that could not play even under the
Ogundeji is a shit stain. I'm so damn disappointed.
They're gonna pay his ass $3.2 million if he's on the roster this year.
That's he got to go. He got to
go. I don't see us keeping him around, especially you got Zach Harris, and then we just re-signed Nate Landman. Like you. Yeah.
Harrison's gonna look so good in that 5-tech role.
Yeah.
So the defense they run with the Rams is the perfect defense for Grady Jarrett because it's a 3-4, but it's an unbalanced 3-4 with a weak side 3-tech strong side 1 tech, strong side 5 tech. So you're gonna have.
Who's kind of running that though? We kind of run that all year. Like,
we were already running that last year.
Yeah,
It's basically the same defense. Like people don't realize we're basically running the same defense this year. But Grady's going to be playing that 3 tech again. Onyemata is at 1 tech. You're probably going to rotate Graham in with Grady. You need somebody big and fat to rotate in with Onyemata. You got Harrison. Maybe you bring back Campbell and have Harrison and Campbell rotate again, but give Harrison the bulk of the reps and have Campbell be the rotational guy now.
Yeah.
And then Ebiketie looked good last year. He needs more reps. Ebiketie needs more reps. On the other side, I say give Malone some reps. I want to see what he does. I think he would actually look really good on that weak side in the 3-4. I think he would look much better than Michael Heck did this last year. He's a much better athlete, much better football player. As a prospect, he was 10 times better than Michael Heck. Let's see what Malone can do out there in this scheme. We might have a gem right there, not even realize it. And hell, if the Chargers release Khalil Mack, go out and get Mack. Go out and get Mack.
You talking about disrespectful.
Hold on.
That's what the defense needs to be, is disrespectful.
What
was that defense in 98? It was disrespectful.
I agree, because if you notice the way they were, anytime you got a defense that get on the field and the team knows you got a bad defense that's not afraid to take your quarterback out, it changes the whole landscape of the game before it's even started.
Absolutely. And when you got a defense and you got dogs up front like Grady Jarrett and Onyemata and Campbell and Harrison was coming on at the end of last year too. Yeah. I think he could break out and be an 8-9 sack guy from a 5 tech, which that's unheard of.
Well, see, and two, by Grady having his first real major injury, they're going to rotate him, and if Calais coming, they're going to rotate them a lot. So you're going to have guys that's going to be able to step up and kind of take the bulk of the load.
I think Zach needs a little bit of a look at that 3 tech position, man, because I like his size, and paying him on that booking. I think he'll be. You gotta see what he can do. He already has the size. I think with the height, his athleticism, man.
He doesn't have the frame to get up above 300 to be that 3 tech though. That's the issue.
Offense. The defense. Well, if you look at Raheem used a lot of stunts and a lot more stunts with the Rams. So I think he'll be able to use them in different ways, not the traditional 3 tech, but you put him in that spot and move him around, kind of how like the Falcons use Rashid Hageman, kind of move him around the line, inside, outside, a lot of stunts. I think you could do that, but I think for the most part, they definitely need a big body. I don't know if Calais Campbell will be back. I do like him that
second. Grab him.
Yeah.
Devondre Sweat would be so much fun in this defense, even though
you know what.
Like
was it Judas
guy starting out, but you put his big old butt in the middle, and then in rundowns have it be Zach and Sweat and Onyemata, and just let them go at it, and then in pass downs pull Grady in. That's the way to do it.
You got a question?
Have to come back and do all that stuff.
Do you got anything as far as the draft or as far as the defense is concerned? Because I think the defense, man. I do. I have a question. Go ahead, Jude. Go ahead. You got.
Y'all know how I get down when it comes to the trenches. You got everything starts in the trenches, so you're gonna have to break in.
Fat boys win championships, baby.
That's it. You got. It comes down to stopping the run. If I'm a defensive coordinator, and one thing that I loved about the Falcons last year, and we know this for years has been a problem, is tackling and stopping the run. Those 2 things alone made our defense better last year. We were a good tackling team, and we stopped the run. If you can stop the run and you can tackle and limit guys for those yak yardage, run after catch, which we were really good at last year, I really feel like, and then depth. That's why I always say you always draft in the trenches. I don't care what. You have to draft in the trenches. I don't care, because you're going to have guys get injured. And last year, even the guys we picked up, played well. We went out and got what's the kid, number 75? I can't think of his name. He ended up getting hurt. Street came in, played well. After Grady got hurt, we just had guys that we continued to rotate in and keep guys fresh. But it got to come down to having those bodies in the trenches. So he mentioned Sweat from Texas. I like Byron Murphy from Texas. Both of those guys big up front.
I like Jared Verse.
Yeah, Jared Verse.
Man, Verse scary, man. I
like Verse as that 3-4 weak side linebacker.
Yeah.
Have Verse in there about 70% of the time, rotate in Malone.
Yeah.
To where he's not playing 100% of the snaps. Have those two guys just get after the quarterback all day. You're going to have some fun times with Verse in there. Verse reminds me a lot of John Abraham coming out of South Carolina.
His bend
knows how to use his hands. Fantastic bend. Dude can get after a quarterback, has a plan when he pass rushes, and already comes preloaded with 2 counter moves. That's my issue with Dallas Turner right now. Dallas Turner has no counter moves. He's just straight speed on the edge. Love him, but that's all he is. He's going to take 2-3 years to become the guy that he needs to be.
Whoa,
Verse is going to be instant, like 8-sack, 10-sack guy.
And Verse plays the run. That's one thing that I like about Verse because
he's very physical.
Yeah, fantastic. When we say set the edge, that's one thing that I can say about Calais and even Bud Dupree. Heavy hands; those guys set the edge perfect in the run game, and that's another thing that we struggle
Harrison
with.
too, man. He was looking real good there too.
Yeah, that's what stood out to me. Those simple things, like it sounds simple, but setting the edge, doing your job.
Yep.
Those guys in the trenches, they did a good job, and then our linebackers were all over the place. I said they were Tasmanian Devils between Ellis and Landon. Those two guys were just coming downhill all game long.
Fundamentally sound. Those guys are fundamentally sound. Man.
If we could give Landman Anderson's athleticism, that's the perfect linebacker right there. That's Urlacher right there.
Yeah.
Or if we could teach Anderson how to play and have instincts like Landman, that would also work for me. Just combine them somehow, because
you might get some
athleticism you can't teach, but you can't teach those instincts that Landman has either. Landman just knows where the run's going to be. It's so damn good.
You gotta remember, Troy Anderson is he's a 3-position athlete. So
yeah, I know. He's mediocre at all 3.
Right.
Yeah, so
you'll have you're gonna have both of them on the team, which is probably where they're going to be able. They're gonna interchange them. They'll mix them up to where offense won't be able
to good at attacking. They're attacking linebackers, so it's perfect for the 3-4 system, and you need guys that'll be physical in those gaps, and that's why I like more about Landman. Like, he's not afraid to get in there and hit an offensive guard. Like that's right there. The best part of his game is that he's not afraid to be physical, and that's exactly
Ellis, man. Listen, you can give me all the Ellis brothers. You can give me Jonah Ellis in the draft in like the 3rd round. You can go sign Christian to be a reserve linebacker. You can go sign Noah to be a rotational defensive tackle. They got another Ellis kid out there at Utah. It's Utah, so the Ellis family has like 12 kids. Yeah. Like every single Ellis brother, just bring them up through the Falcons. I'm okay with that.
But a good person.
Those guys know football.
Another person that could be a good day 2 or day 3 pick for us, Junior Colston.
I would love Junior Colston, man.
Yes.
Him or Edgerrin Cooper. Those are my top 2 linebackers.
Junior Colston, man. I just like when the time like Michigan, like man.
We just have a daily. We just had a daily Michigan. Never mind.
Here's the thing, though. I don't scout helmets. Junior Colston's good. Everybody's like, oh, why do you like this Big Ten guy, or why do you like this guy instead of this Georgia player? Dude, I don't give a shit what helmet these players wear in college, because the minute they put on a Falcons helmet, they're a Falcon.
That's true.
Also, I went to the Citadel. That's my team. Not a damn player from my team is ever going to be drafted by the Falcons. We've had 3 players from my team on Falcons in like the entire history of the Falcons. And one of them is like Travis Jervey, who was a fullback.
Oh boy, I remember that. I remember
Travis Andre Roberts, who was the same year I was at the Citadel, was a wide receiver and kick returner. And I can't think of the third one because it was like back in the day. It was like John Small or some shit.
Oh boy.
I'm kind of in the same boat with you. I probably ain't gonna never see nobody from my team on this goddamn team, but I don't care.
Where'd you go, bro?
I didn't go to the college, but I'm a Georgia Tech fan, so I get
you had a couple guys.
Yeah, keep brooking.
Yeah,
outside of him,
Brooke. But that's Brooke. I mean, everybody know Brooke, man.
we talking about in the last 10 years.
All right. I will say this: Brent Key is doing a damn good job at Tech. He is going to have them as like a 9-3 team over and over and over and over again,
Right.
which for Georgia Tech is perfect. That's great. Top 15 ranking, like that'll be Georgia Tech moving forward.
Right.
Man, I love King, man. His like he's just so reckless with the ball. He reminds me a lot of Josh Allen. Like he has the athleticism. He can make all the throws. The dude can make all the throws, but he's just a turnover machine. He gets so reckless with the ball, and it drives me insane because he can really sling it.
He's so fun to watch, though.
He's a fucking nightmare, just like Josh Allen.
From a guy who has no allegiance to any college, I love watching Haynes King play because I have no dog in the fight. Because he's either going to throw it 50 yards, get a touchdown, or he's going to throw it 50 yards and the other team's going to
all 3 interceptions on 3 passes. Like he'll do something like that and then have 3 touchdowns straight. I'm like,
but you know how funny
he's a Chris Wenke quarterback.
But do you know what's funny about that though? That's the best quarterback play Georgia Tech has seen in about 25 years.
Yes, he's Joe Hamilton. Dude, if Joe Hamilton came out of college this year instead of when he did, he's a top 3 pick.
He's the top boy.
He was only a 7th round pick because he was 5'7".
Yeah. All right, but I got a question. I got a question for you, Scott. We have a certain contract situation that's going to be coming up here soon. So I want to get your thought on Mr. AJ Terrell.
Extend him. Well, I mean that's an easy one. He's a top 5-6 corner in the game. Give him a contract that shows it. Extend him. He's worth it. He's used his teach tape for colleges around the country.
Okay.
Like he is a hell of a corner. He's a perfect fit for this scheme. He can play zone. He can play man. Just do not have him play off man. He is a press man. He is a press zone. He is an off zone. He is not an off man corner. You play him in off man, he is going to have a bad time. Let him press. Let him get up in the face because he's an aggressive corner. Let him use his aggression.
I got one issue with him, though.
What's that? He can't catch the damn ball?
But not that. See, he a corner, so I don't care if he can't catch the ball. But if he's gonna make a tackle, don't lead with your head, man.
No, I get that too.
Yeah.
But I mean, that could be coached.
So what you're saying is with the addition of Raheem Morris being the DB man and him and Jerry Gray, they'll be able to iron that stuff out with AJ Terrell.
At least the head tackling, like
he can't be doing no bullet tackling.
He's already fine at like press man and zone coverages. Like I'm not worried about him there. Just don't use him in off man. Like that's a schematic thing. If you're saying I'm going to use a guy who's average at best at off man, but is in the 90 range, like 90 out of 100 range in press man and in zone coverage, why the hell are you doing that? That's a schematic thing. Don't put your best press corner, your best zone corner in off man. Like that's just stupid. That's like saying, hey, let's put Bijan Robinson out as an outside wide receiver and have him run a slant when he can't run routes yet. It's the same concept.
That's we saw that way too often. We lost the game because of that.
So when they were using Terrell this past year, what was he doing? He was doing press man. He was doing zone. That's all he was doing all year. He had a great year. Yeah, he can't catch the damn ball, but it's AJ Terrell. You knew that when you drafted him in 2020.
God damn! Watching the offense, we got Jonnu Smith running clear out streaks and shit. What are we doing?
Yeah, On offense, it made no sense. On defense, it made sense because defense was well coached, well schemed.
Right.
All I'm saying, use the guy where he works. Find where these guys win. That's the coach's job. The coach's job is find where these guys win, find how these guys win, and put them in those situations 9 out of 10 plays. You do that, your team is going to score a lot of points and stop a lot of points.
I got one more question
your special
before we
teams just got to do its thing.
I got one more question before we start winding down, Scott. A lot of people didn't like myself, K-Style, and my take on not TJ Duckett, but Tyler Algier. Now we want to make it clear that we want him to stay, but we feel as though other teams are going to see the value in this guy. Now, it may not happen, especially when you got guys like Saquon Barkley. These guys are not running backs, are not getting contracts, so it's quite possible that he will stay. But he's still young. He doesn't have a lot of miles on him, and he's going to want to get paid. So what do you think the Falcons should do if they were to get a pick? Let's just say a second, third round pick for Tyler. I always want to say TJ Duckett, but Tyler Algier.
He runs like TJ Duckett, so I get what
right.
You take it because running backs are expendable in general, especially running backs of his play style. Not saying anything negative about Tyler Algier. He's a fine running back. He's very similar to Michael Turner in how he runs. Very similar to TJ Duckett. Very similar to Jamal Anderson. They were all those big, bruising, just nasty power backs, right? Well, there's 4 of those in this draft, minimum, that you could go and draft. And, I mean, shit, Jason McClellan from Alabama, you could probably get in the 7th. Kendall Milton from Georgia, you could probably get in the 7th. Like, you don't need to waste a lot of money on a power back, especially when you have a guy like Bijan Robinson. You let him walk in free agency. Someone wants to trade a second for him? Hell yeah, take a second for him. Chicago wants him if you need to trade up to 1. Or say New England wants him if you want to trade up to 3. Fuck him. Get that quarterback. You can replace a running back. I mean, again, not saying Tyler Algier's a bad player. Love Tyler Algier. But a 5th-round running back is the most replaceable position in the league. I'm of the opinion there's 4 spots you should draft every single year, regardless of what your team looks like. You should always draft a running back, even if it's in the 7th, because they are replaceable. Again, they are replaceable, and you need depth in the position because they get injured. You should always draft an offensive lineman because at minimum you're getting depth. You should always draft a fat boy on defense, whether it be an end or a tackle. And you should always draft a cornerback because you can never have enough cornerback depth in the league. Those are the most injured positions. Those are also the most important positions when it comes to consistently moving or consistently stopping the ball. Now, should you draft a quarterback every single year? No. But you should probably take somebody every other year and build up your depth at quarterback too. Should you take – but, yeah, I mean, in this draft, you got Frank Gore Jr. in this draft. You want to get another Tyler Algier type guy? Grab Frank Gore Jr. Grab that kid from Louisville who killed it at the combine. Grab him in the 5th. Like,
you get Blake Corum at Blake Corum fall.
I mean, if Corum falls to like the 3rd and you got that extra 3rd-round pick, might as well grab Blake Corum.
I'll get him. I'll sure get his ass.
You know, why not? I don't think you're getting a 2nd-round pick for Algier, though. I think at most you're probably getting a 4th. Or you're packaging them in with a trade to a team that needs a running back and you're trading up for a quarterback. That's the only thing that I see happening. Like say Drake May happens to fall to 5 at the Chargers, and the Chargers are like, we want 8, we want 74, we want next year's first, and we want Tyler Algier. I hate to say it, but Tyler, you're out the door, buddy. Like I'll give up 74 next year's first for Tyler Algier to get a quarterback, because in the 2nd round, in the 3rd round, you're looking for a backup running back in this draft at that point. Hell, you could re-sign Patterson. Patterson's not getting signed before the draft. You can just re-sign Patterson for another year and rotate Patterson and Robinson all year and be fine there too. Like, I think people overthink just how important a running back is, especially in today's NFL. It's much more about the offensive line. The only reason why I was cool with Bijan is because Bijan can play running back and he can line up at slot and he can. I saw a Christian McCaffrey plan for Bijan. That was the only reason why I was open to Bijan. And honestly, I think they are still going to run that same kind of Christian McCaffrey plan, but not Tyler Algier. As much as I love Tyler Algier, as much as I love that bruising, get in your face, fuck a dude up type running back, there's no reason, absolutely no reason to have him as an untouchable player.
So go ahead, Ken. Go ahead.
My bad. So let's say with Tyler Algier, what would be his more ideal role as far as this Falcon team in 2024? Like what would be your situation, your ideal situation for him?
I'd look to the Lions and see how they were using David Montgomery. A lot of first down run. Throw Tyler Algier in there. Second down, third down, Bijan's in the field. But first down run, you know it's going to be a run. Everybody knows it's going to be a run. Have Algier get in there and bust some skulls. Third and short, that's Algier territory. Fourth and short, that's Algier territory. Run some plays where you got both those guys in the backfield, split back, old school style. Like, go back to the old Walsh offense where you had two running backs behind the quarterback.
That pro set?
That old pro set, that old split back pro set. Like, why not? Like, I mean, when you have the extra depth and you have the extra guys who have proven themselves at the NFL level, you fucking use them. Like, it's that simple. You just use them. Like, that's all that matters. Who gives a shit if other teams don't do this? Like, I think that's one thing Falcons fans get a little in their heads about sometimes. They're like, oh, well, other teams do this and this and this. Other teams have better talent in some spots and worse talent at others. We should focus on what our strengths are and use our players to their strengths. There was not one play this year that the Falcons ran where they had Kyle Pitts, Bijan Robinson, Cordero Patterson, and Jonnu Smith on the field all at the same time in a true 22 personnel. Not one single play all year. Why was that? That should have been one of their most common sets. Get your five, if you want to run positionless offense, get your five best players out there and run them all around the field. All downs. As many downs as you can.
I was kind of disappointed to not see CP at receiver as much. I thought he could have been used a lot better as a receiver. I mean, backfield is one thing, but like I still think he has some value as at least a slot receiver. At that point, I didn't
honestly,
see that.
He's better as an outside receiver. He's pretty terrible as a slot receiver. You put him outside, throw London in the slot. London's fantastic in the slot.
Yeah, he know how to use his body. Yeah.
I mean, London played basketball. He knows how to box out. Like, London was okay at basketball, but he was still a D1 basketball player. He knows how to box people out.
Right.
Let him go to the slot and box out these nickel corners that are 5'8", 182 pounds with his 6'5", 220 pound frame. Like, just moss him the entire time. Have London run a slant. These little nickel corners can't get in the way if London's boxing them out. Just use that. When they did run London in the slot and they ran those little slants, they were going for 15, 20 yards because those little nickel corners were getting fucking thrown around. They were diving at London's feet because they couldn't take him down. That's what I would do. Just have them abuse those little slot corners.
Well, London did play a lot of slot at USC.
Played a lot of slot at USC. Kyle Pitts and London being used as big slot receivers like Marcus Colston and Jimmy Graham were for the Saints all those years, and we saw the aftermath of our own defense against that team. Why don't we run a play out of the Sean Payton playbook and do that a lot more? Because, I mean, fuck, that's how you develop a quarterback. You give him good options that can attack the middle of the field. So,
Right. What you got, Mike?
We kind of give Scott an opportunity to kind of, plug himself. Jew, Don, if you guys don't have another question, we kind of get Scott an opportunity. You guys any more questions?
Let Scott say what he need to say, and I got some important to say after what he got to say.
oh, so I'm just plugging myself now?
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
What's
No, like he didn't hear nothing I just didn't say. I said, if you don't have anything else to say, we're going to get Scott to plug himself. And he just switched the whole. Don, pay attention.
I am paying attention. I'm telling him to do it first, and then I'm gonna say what I need to say last.
All right.
Will this have to do anything with some type of restaurants we all need to eat?
He gonna have something crazy to say. I watch. Go ahead. Go ahead, Scott.
All right, man. So I've been working on my big board. I've put my combine data in there, and that's all out. I'm gonna start writing some scouting reports up at Blogging Dirty, going over potential Falcons picks, guys who I personally like, guys who I think they could draft, as well as a couple guys who I don't think they should draft, like JJ McCarthy. Old Zach Wilson ass. I'm gonna put those up at Blogging Dirty, and then you can find me on Twitter. I'm always down for a good football talk.
Yeah, I'll definitely send me that link, and I'll be sure to share it, man. Okay, done. Let's go.
Don't be fucking rushing me. Anyway, so I'm gonna get back to Scott here in a second because he wanted to know about some restaurants. But I need everybody to try this. Oh damn, one left, and I needed him to be on here, but I'll tell him later.
No, I'm here.
Okay, you got a Matt Mike thing. Okay, look, everybody in here is a fan of garlic bread, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
This is what I need y'all to do. This is what y'all need y'all to do. You get you some sliced banana peppers, and you put it on top of the garlic bread, and you put some Parmesan cheese, and you put it back in the oven. I'm telling y'all, it turns garlic bread to a whole nother level. Just trust me on this. Trust me on this. All right. Now going back to the restaurant,
I'm sorry. I'm just having a hard time not laughing at that, man. Like,
go ahead and laugh.
Why not do pepperoncinis like those Italian peppers?
You can do those too.
And then you cut them up.
Yeah, I can't get with no banana peppers, but the pepperoncini, I'll try that.
Get those pepperoncinis and then put those on there.
I know some people don't know what pepperoncinis are. They like the banana peppers, but either pepper works. Like they're like mild peppers. They're not really hot.
No, they're not.
All right, but I'm gonna give you a restaurant to reference for to go look at. Have you ever heard of Max Raw Bar in Marietta?
Yeah, man, it's right by Max Shop House. My wife and I've been there.
Okay, so y'all been so the food that good, ain't it?
It's pretty good.
Yeah,
it's
okay.
So the guy that runs Max, he is like an old chef from Hall's Chop House in Charleston, and I was in Charleston for 8 years. And Hall's was like the place you go. Hall's was essentially the chops of Charleston. Like you go for a steak, you go to Hall's, and if you go to Charleston, there's no question. That's where you go. So Max is like the same concept. It's just in Atlanta. When you compare it to the better chefs we have in Atlanta than what they have in Charleston, it's a little tougher because it's good. It would be great in Charleston, but in a bigger city with more chefs, better chefs, it's like A tier where S tier is like Chops. S tier is like McKendrick's over in Sandy Springs. Like, if you want a good steak, I'd rather go to McKendrick's. I'd rather go to Chops all day, every day.
All right. You eat sushi, don't you?
Absolutely.
Okay. You ever heard of Pacific Rim downtown?
I'm not going all the way downtown for some sushi, my dude.
Look, if you ever in the downtown area, I know some people don't want to go in the city. The city is like is hard to get to, especially you stay outside the perimeter. But downtown Dunn is always in the city with it. So, but anyway, if you ever downtown, go to Pacific Rim. They got the best sushi in the city. I promise you.
I've been going to Nagoya and Roswell. That's my favorite spot. But honestly, there's better places than them too. I'm not going inside the perimeter when I've got a place I've been going since I was like 8 years old for sushi. I'll go for something different. Like I'm going to go down there for Filipino food. Like I'll go down to Estrelita for Filipino food because my wife's Filipino. So I'll do that all day. I'm just not going to go all the way downtown for some sushi, especially since I can drive 10 minutes and get sushi as opposed to driving an hour and a half and get sushi.
Look, I've eaten sushi everywhere. Like you've been around. I've been around to different states and stuff, and I've eaten sushi everywhere. But like, that's literally Pacific Rim is like in my top 5 of sushis.
So have you been to Nobu?
Where that's located?
There's a Nobu in Buckhead. Most overrated sushi spot I've ever been to.
See, most of the restaurants in Buckhead are overrated anyway because it's Buckhead.
But Nobu, it's overpriced and overrated, and it's not that great conceptually. It's not this fantastic thought process behind everything. Yeah. And it's treated like it's the gold standard of sushi. I'm just not a fan, man. It's way overpriced for what it is.
I don't really eat food like that when I go to Buckhead, unless it's Houston's. But like,
I was about to say, I know you a damn lie.
But anyway, like I said, I don't really go.
I want you to look at the screen. A137 sauce said this is the fat boy concession. But it's funny as hell coming from a guy that got a picture of A1 sauce.
I ain't even gonna lie, because A1 sauce is the best sauce.
If you need to put A1 sauce on your steak was not made correctly.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh.
However, if you do go to say if you go to Longhorn, you go to Logan's or whatever like that, if somebody taking you out to eat for free, I'm gonna take it. So if I go to a steakhouse like that, that's not my choosing, but somebody's paying for it, I'm gonna give me some A1 sauce on my steak. But when I make a steak, I don't need no sauce on my steak because my steak is good. And then 2, do not eat your steak well done. Your steak is supposed to be medium at best. Medium rare is what I love.
No blood, Don. Just because y'all want to act like vampires, no blood.
Nah, so the way it works is all the flavor proteins, like the things that actually make steak taste like steak,
is medium rare.
Cook out when you cook it to well done. Exactly. Yeah, if you go to medium, you're not going to see any blood. It's called myoglobin. It's just a protein that's coming out of the meat. All the blood's already been drained out of the beef. Out of the cow, at the time they kill it, because otherwise the meat's going to taste. It's going to taste like ammonia if they don't do that.
Yeah, I'm a medium man.
Well, because
medium's fine.
There's no matter how much is drained out, there's always urea and ammonia in the blood anyway. So that's another talk.
Yeah, but that's why you drain all the blood out so that the steak itself, the meat itself, doesn't taste that way.
Medium, eat your steaks medium rare, you guys. Like,
I'm a rare, medium rare kind of guy. Like, I'll eat rare steak in a heartbeat. My favorite's when they do Pittsburgh style, because Pittsburgh style they char it on the outside to a crisp, and then on the inside it's rare. I love that.
Yeah, just as long as it ain't boot leather, I'm good.
Well, when you cooking it well done,
it's a difference now.
If you're cooking a steak well done, you might as well eat a hamburger, bro.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
There's a difference between steak and jerky. There's nothing. No, we're not trying to have jerky.
Well, if it takes you 15 minutes to finish one bite, yeah.
No. If you got to take your steak and dip it in some water in order to make it soft again, you don't need to eat it. That's a little bit much.
Man, I'm up here getting a whole. Oh my goodness! Look at this. We got so many people in here. We started talking about football and into food, and everybody's still here. So I guess it's a good thing.
I'll talk
like the
food
views actually went up while we started talking about food. Okay, so either y'all hungry as hell, you haven't eaten, or you really like what this conversation is.
Man, it's 9:43. Everybody should have had dinner right now. I'm about to go get me a late night snack before I go.
We know.
Snacking during the show, and now he's gonna have a late night snack.
He snacked before, during, and after the show.
As a fellow fat guy, I can rip on fat guys for this. So I got no problem with that.
Lord have mercy, y'all ain't right, man.
But I'll talk about food all day, man. Food's the great uniter, right?
Yeah.
Everybody eats food. Everybody likes food. Whoever doesn't like food is someone who's never had good food.
I'm about to get on Big Ant talking about some. Well, I think strawberry jelly is horrible. It all depends because strawberry jelly goes well with crunchy peanut butter.
Strawberry jelly goes well on one of those Chick-fil-A chicken biscuits too, but
yeah, it does.
That's a fat guy thing.
I'll definitely get that.
Strawberry jelly is definitely good paired with biscuits. I will go with that.
Yeah. On a PB&J too.
But
I'm more of a strawberry guy, but that's because I grew up and all my parents ever bought was grape. So for 18 years, I never had strawberry jelly.
Look,
now I'm making up for it.
Look, Scott, when you had to sit up there and had the plastic bottle, and then your parents bring that one jar of Smuckers home, you like, wait a minute.
But you know what's better.
My parents were cheap. We had store brand jelly, whether it was
great value jelly
or Kroger or whatever it was.
Hey, but y'all know what's good on toast though? Y'all know what's the best jelly on toast? Apple jelly.
Apple jelly. I knew you were gonna say that.
Apple jelly. Boy, on some toast. Oh,
yeah, apple jelly.
I remember I was in school, boy. You remember you was in school? We had the toast, and they had the different flavors of jelly, and they only had like so many amount of apple jellies. I used to fight for the apple jelly, boy.
So my grandma used to make these cookies growing up called Hamantaschens. I'm from a Jewish family. They're these triangle cookies. They're shortbread, and then they have like jelly on the inside.
I've heard of them.
So they're great. But my grandma used to put raspberry jelly in the middle of them, and no one makes them with raspberry. They normally do strawberry or chocolate or apricot. She used to do raspberry jelly or blueberry jelly, and those were always my favorites.
I love me some blueberry jelly. Ooh.
So
this man about to shoot all on himself.
That boy was like, Metal Gear.
Hey man, we done had a good time, man.
Yeah.
We definitely had a good time. Appreciate you, Scott, for coming on, showing some love, man. You more than welcome to come in, join us again. You done? Y'all got some last comments y'all wanna go out there? And no more food done, okay? No food talk.
They said it all. Donna said it all. We food combo, but we appreciate you joining us, man. It was a pleasure having you.
Yeah,
of course, man. So
hey man, it's all love, man. At the end of the day, like you said, a lot of misunderstandings, but this is what we talk about when we say, at the end of the day, regardless of what everybody's viewpoints are, it's all about the conversation.
Absolutely. It's about football, man.
Because if you're not willing to have the conversation, then you're never going to get where the other person is coming from. So
exactly.
We appreciate it, but definitely, Scott, definitely appreciate you. I guess we on the unblocked list now.
You're on the follow list now that I've spoken with you. I've actually interacted with you. I'll follow you guys. Like, I'm cool with that shit. Like that's the thing. Like I'm one of those people. I'd rather talk to you like this because so much gets lost on Twitter. There's no real nuance on Twitter.
It does.
I can't just be like, oh, I like this quarterback, and then the next day I'm like, I like this quarterback, and then people go, well, I thought you liked this other guy. Listen, there's a nuance there. Like, there's always going to be nuance to takes, and you can't put nuance on Twitter. No one seems to understand the concept of it.
No,
when you're in that two-way character medium.
You got fandom. You got fandom with at least structure. A lot of people just got fandom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
they're not thinking about it.
Right.
Yeah, I have a structure, and I think about every aspect. I'm one of those overthinkers, overanalyzers when it comes to that, because I'd rather overanalyze that than overanalyze shit for my job or other things. Let me overanalyze football and stress about that, because that's actually something that, in the grand scheme of things, means nothing to my actual life.
All right.
You know, I love football. It's my hobby, but let me obsess over my hobby and not the stuff that's actually mattering in my life.
Warren?
Man, John, leave it alone. He talking about communication on social media is unnatural.
John, man, I love John, man.
Now the thing is, like, Scott can have a conversation, a coherent conversation, without getting all riled up about it. Because you can't even. You got some content creators out here that I will say that can't detach feelings from the facts. They can't have, you know, so they can't put their bias aside enough to have a coherent conversation, if I can put it in them terms.
Here's the thing: I don't know everything there is to know about the game.
I'm glad you said, wait, hold it.
Bro, that's music to my ears. We say that all the time.
Did y'all hear this?
Who have more experience in, especially certain aspects of. I never played offense growing up. When I did play football, I never played offense. When I did, I was playing fullback, and it was just, hey, go hit the middle linebacker. All right, cool. I'm gonna go run and hit the middle linebacker. I don't care, because I wanted to play defense. I wanted to go hit people. I didn't care about any of the rest of it.
But you know, I want everybody to listen. Scott said something very key, and I want y'all to pay attention. Timestamp it. He said, "Did you hear what he said? He's not worried about how he feels. He says stuff. The man played the game, but he says he doesn't know it all.
That's it.
Salute to you, sir.
He's willing to learn about the game.
Salute to you, sir. I'm gonna be the first to say it. Salute to you, because you can't tell everybody else that. They're quote unquote experts.
There's a lot of stuff that we don't even know what we don't know. Like, I mean, even with contracts, like I feel like I know a lot about that, but there's stuff Jason and Brad over at Over the Cap know that's well beyond my level of understanding. Schematically, I can tell you right now, there's a lot of schemes out there, especially on offense, that I have no idea what's going on compared to, like, now sometimes it's because I don't know what's going on because I don't know what the fuck the coach is trying to do, like Arthur Smith.
Yeah, I'll obsess over the schemes.
But like I'll watch some schemes and I'm like, what the hell are they doing? This is more at the college level too. Because it'll work and you'll be like, what the hell? How is that working? And then you're like, wait, no, this is college football. Like, I don't think this would work in the pros. But some of these other teams out there, like what who was it? It was like Arizona or Arizona State, one of those two teams. They're running a couple of plays, and I was like, and I was watching Jaden Daniels film, and I was like, what the are they running? And then the play's working, and I'm like, I guess it works, but it shouldn't have. It didn't make any sense why it worked, but it worked for God knows why. All right. Like, and it's just one of those things you watch it and you're like, all right, this didn't make sense, but move on, right? Just move on. Like, go to the next one. Like, sometimes you'll see stuff on film and you're like, I don't know why this is the way it is, but it works. Sometimes you'll see stuff on film and be like, that didn't work, and I saw that coming because it made no damn sense. So, again, we don't know everything. Nobody knows everything that there is to know. It's just not possible. The closest one out there in football that I would say to know everything that there might have ever been to know is John Madden.
Yeah.
Rest in peace.
Damn, I was thinking it. I was literally thinking John Madden.
Because that man knew everything about every position and just obsessed about football his entire life. John Madden. That was the guy that if there was a football know-it-all and never acted that way either, was him.
He studied all the great coaches and all the great developed schemes from Lombardi on down. John Madden, if you listen to all the video games that he's put out, John, that's basically his culmination of learning all of these schemes over the years, all the way from the inception of the NFL down.
Absolutely. And they have taken a massive downturn since his passing. Because they don't have him consulting anymore. And I think the second one that might be there is Saban, Nick Saban. And even he has no idea how the NIL business aspect works.
Yeah, that's kind of the main reason why he left.
And that's why when every time I hear Chris Collinsworth on TV,
oh my God,
end up muting it.
I think the reason why we don't like Collinsworth is he acts like he knows everything. And while he knows a lot, I will give him some credit. He knows a lot. He played, he coached, he did a lot. That man is not. No.
I believe he likes the way he sounds. That's what, he just
that
likes
man
the
just
way
talks to talk sometimes.
Yeah, he likes to hear his own voice.
Yeah, he just loves to hear himself talk. Like, half the time it's like, I've heard this before. Like, why are you pretending like this is the greatest route ever ran? It's like, okay, all right, enough of you.
We can't compare every one hand catch to the OBJ catch. I mean, that happened 10 years ago.
The funny thing is, there are gonna be athletes that's gonna do that in a better fashion after him. So it's just about mechanics at that point.
That's all I got, Mike, man.
Man, you close it. I did my job. It's time for you to close it now. Shit, I'm tired. I'm tired now. Shit, I don't even think the host show. You the host shoot.
Hey, I took a nap before this. I had a feeling it was late.
Look. You see what I did to Mike? I made Mike hold.
He made me host the damn show this time. Like, I'm used to just sitting here talking. Like, I'm tired. I'm beat now.
He has hosting fatigue right now. So like that.
I'm just sitting back and talk a bunch of crap and K-Style. I'm tired now. Shoot. I'm not used to being in this spot, like thinking and talking at the same time. Like, I'm not.
See, but that's what a well-oiled machine,
right?
Talking football does.
Yeah.
But like I said, we appreciate everybody tuning in as usual. Like you said, definitely make sure you go ahead and hit that like, subscribe to the Heavy Hitters Live channel. As well as Jude Talk Sports, as well as the Therapist ATL, the Don's Favor, Mad Mike Sports, Mad Mike Network, Atlanta Falcon Nation, as usual, the 6-man combo. Hey man, what do we always say? We ain't here to play.
Oh no,
we here to stay.
Oh yeah, dig it.
You ain't got to go home.
But you got to get the hell up out of here.
You motherfucker.
We did.
We're going to get a grilled a sandwich or something.
Now I want a grilled cheese and a sandwich. I might like put some jelly over grilled cheese. Like that shit sound good right now.
I might have made me some pastrami sandwich.
Who the hell got time to do all of that?
It's already been cooked. It's been cooked already.
It's been slow roasted over a fire. Dipped in ICU, waiting on dawn.
He gonna be on. Before he go to work, he gonna be on the toilet for 20 minutes before. What? You can't eat that.
Mike, don't worry. The food is good.
Oh my God!
All you gonna hear is.
Oh, whoa! Southside, hold on, wait! Who the hell? Were you high as hell? Look at this mixture.
Peanut butter and jelly, seafood, Pittsburgh, a piece of burger.
Tell me I've been eating edibles without telling me I've been eating edibles.
Like seriously, what the hell?
Man,
all right, we gotta go, y'all. We gotta.
I think that just closed the show right there.
Yeah, man.
Seafood, burger, and fries. And you know what? Bye.
That's a dangerous